There's been some movement lately in legislation from 13 states that are considering requiring their residents to have long-term care coverage and taxing those without it. And one of those states is our very own Michigan. But what could that mean for those in or near retirement? Joining us to discuss this is Gary Mattson and Laurel Stewart, the father-daughter team at our sponsor, Mattson Financial Services. It's a firm that's been helping people retire successfully in West Michigan for decades. You can also catch them on their popular radio show, Money Mentors. And so, Gary, Laurel, Michigan is considering requiring long-term care coverage. Is this, in your opinion, a good thing?
I'm going to say no, just because, yes, I believe in long-term care, and I do think that it plays a role, which, we'll talk about more here in this segment with plans, but it's not necessarily everybody should have it or everybody needs it. And my fear is if they mandate this, right, the government is now requiring everybody to have it, it's an extra something that you have to pay and you might not use, and you're not going to get your money back out of that system.
Yes.
So I say no.
Yes. Gary?
She's my daughter.
She calls the shots. I know you work together as a team. So let's talk about the benefits of long-term care.
Yeah, and I think this is where we do a much better job than the typical long-term care assessment out there. And what I mean by that is that I really don't like long-term care policies per se, because they can always change either the amount of money you're going to pay or the coverage you're going to get. And so many times the person who's selling that is trying to sell the most to you, and maybe that's not what you need. You just need to take care of the areas. So we like to do it from a standpoint that, number one, is we have predictability. In other words, that we know what the premium's going to be and it'll never change. That's really important. Secondly, is we want the coverage to be flexible. In other words, if it can't be used for long-term care, can I get my money back? Yes. Or it maybe I just want to leave it there so I can have end-of-life payment,
insurance policy
to pay off my funeral needs. So there's a lot of flexibility we like to see within products out there. So that's what we do for our clients. Then it comes, like I say, for us, it's always about the retirement dreams, goals, and desires. And let's face it, we want our spouse or our loved one to be taken care of, but we don't want to destroy our portfolio trying to take care of that person. So that's where we come from. We want it to be equal.
Is all long-term care coverage the same? And is it similar to healthcare? Because we know there are a lot of variations when it comes to healthcare.
Yeah, I would say it's more like healthcare than it's not, just for the sense of premiums are so different, the types of coverage. I mean, it can get really complicated with what's out there. And like to Dad's point, a lot of times we'll see a policy come in that's 30, 40 years old, and people are wondering, should I still have this because my premiums increased, and either if I want to keep this $500,000 benefit, I have to actually minimize that, and now I have to decrease it to only $150,000.
Right.
So you start weighing all of these things, and it can just seem really, overbearing.
How do you help your clients determine which long-term care is best for them?
And that's a great question, because I was going to follow up with Laurel with that answer. So the thing is that if you've got a long-term care policy already in place, there's different things, or riders as we call, that could be something that says, hey, whatever you do, don't get rid of this. You can't get this anymore. We've seen those.
Yeah.
There's other ones that there's better product out there and better coverages now because we're living longer than that price product. So actually we can freeze that one, still have the benefits and not paying anymore. That's another choice. So it's really about designing the program for the client and understanding what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
We actually have in our arsenal, if you would, a formulation of how much you should spend for long-term care insurance and how much is too expensive. And so if it's too expensive, then it's too expensive. It shouldn't be part of your program.
Yeah.
And we talk about that too with what's your family history like? I mean, we don't have the crystal ball to know, but we can talk about if there should be a need there, or perhaps a client came in and they said, my parents didn't have this. I don't want to have that same burden. I want to have this coverage. It is really important. So we just kind of go through a questionnaire to really get to know the client too.
Yeah. Are the plans included in your retirement plans for long-term care? Is that in the retirement plan that you create?
Yes. So
100%.
Everything that we do, we call it like our Mattson Financial Enhanced Retirement Plan. It's enhanced because it's not just about, you give your assets to an advisor and you want it to grow and, hey, tell me when I can take income out. We do so much more than that, from, Medicare and marketplace insurance to, your income planning, your investments, all of that, but also long-term care coverage. Anything that when you think retirement, we're here to help you through that whole journey.
Yeah.
Even documents is so important because you might have a policy out there, and we hear this a lot, that my parents went to use their long-term care policy and it was denied. And that's because they didn't go to an approved medical facility. They went to one that has licensing, but is not, quote, set up for that, so they can't get the payments out of that policy. So it's understanding those intricacies, and that's why we do that for our enhanced plan. We review everything and making sure it's fitting right.
Yeah, so you have an offer for those who want a thorough plan. Tell us about it.
So if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, we're offering this complimentary to the first 5 callers. We'll sit down with you, complimentary, like I mentioned, with one of our fiduciary advisors and start talking about what have you done so far to prepare for retirement and what are you looking for? And our goal is to be here with you every step of that journey for the next 30, 40 years of your plan.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. So for you at home, if you're worried about running out of money perhaps in retirement, having a thorough plan, get a good plan in place and take advantage of that special from Mattson Financial. If you're retiring or already retired, Gary, Laurel, and the rest of the team will sit down with you and customize a retirement plan that's just for you. This is a comprehensive, enhanced plan that includes a look at your investments, your income sources, taxes, and so much more to help you get to and through the retirement that you deserve. So reserve one of those spots now. Call 800-536-8907. That's 800-536-8907. So thank you so much, Gary, Laurel, for stopping by. We always love to see you and get your expertise.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
And this segment is sponsored by Mattson Financial Services. We'll be right back.